Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Shay, and I help skinny gamers and anime fans gain the first pound of muscle that they'll ever want and the last pound of muscle that they'll ever want. Okay, and if you're returning back, welcome back. Um, and if you clicked on this video, I'm very, very proud of you first and foremost because you could have clicked on any of the other dopaminergic BS online, but you chose to click on this because you're committed to your fitness goals. Um, and yeah, you just want to get better. So I really appreciate that. Let's get started with the video, right? So the thumbnail for a lot of you seems like clickbait, right? And I'll just be very, very honest. I think for a lot of you deep down, it is not clickbait. Okay. And here's why. It's because a lot of you think that for most of you, you feel very, very unconfident with being skinny and being someone who plays games and playing and watching anime. You don't know why? Because it's looked at as this nerdy thing that people do. And it's perceived with a very, very negative connotation. Like you're very bummy, like you have nothing going for you in your life. You know what I mean? And so a lot of you think that way. A lot of you are like, man, this thing I really like doing, a lot of people don't mess with, and it's kind of annoying. People immediately change the way they see you because of it. And they don't think about that when it comes to other hobbies, other stuff that's so uncool gets looked at as like it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like for example, like smoking, drinking, doing all this other stuff. And I bet for a lot of you that pisses you off. You know what I mean? This video title probably pissed you off too because you're like, bro, deep down to some extent you clicked on it because you feel like it's true to some level. Now, a lot of you might disagree with this and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, that felt like it was true with me. I remember being back in high school and feeling very, very unconfident, feeling like I was just baseline a loser because one, I played games, two, I watched anime, three, I'm brown. So by default, I'll never have someone to love, and that's it. And saying it out loud, it makes it sound really, really dumb. You know what I mean? But back then, I really did think that was true. And everything around me in reality was reinforcing that. You know what I mean? And maybe because I believed that, I acted that way, which made it even worse for me. You know what I mean? A self fulfilling prophecy, as I call it. So, yeah, I just wanted to start off the video by saying that I think a lot of you think that that's actually true, even if you think it's like a fire thumbnail and, it'll get grabbed onto the algorithm. And I kind of wanted to talk about whether or not you can find that someone and you can break that stereotype of being that nerd, or better yet, embracing the fact that you're a nerd, but then also just being better and becoming bulkier and more jacked. You know what I mean? Because then you break that stereotype, you know what I mean, of the nerd wearing the fucking collar, wearing the glasses, getting pushed around by everybody. You don't want that, you know what I mean? And it should piss you off that that is your stereotype, that's how you're looked at. You know what I mean? And that doesn't have to be the way that you're looked at, because I felt that way at some point and now I'm not really looked at as much like that. And I'll be honest to some extent, because it'd be really easy for me to sell my coaching if I said, "Oh, I used to be this loser and now everybody looks at me this certain way." It's like, yeah, a lot of the way people perceive me now is with a lot of respect, because when you build a physique, it is undeniably, you can't really lie about it. You see it, it exists. You know what I mean? It took effort to build. No one can really lie about it, you know? Um, but I will say that that doesn't mean that everybody will still respect you and or be attracted to you, okay? Like, let's just get that out of the way. But you get so much more out of it than you think, and you do become a lot more attractive. You do become someone whose word is respected a lot more as a result of getting bigger, getting more jacked. And people, like, if you think about it from like a primal sense, you're looked at as more of a threat. You're like a bigger person. Subconsciously people are thinking that, if you got into an altercation, it's not necessarily that you're going to win because you're the big tough guy, but you're definitely not going to be easy to deal with. You know what I mean? So in that sense, in an instinctual sense, you also have that respect. And that's why I want to help sort of break that stereotype. And I'm going to talk about practical ways in which, why I think gaming and anime is still, you can still do it and still not be perceived as like this weird nerd, although by some people you still will be, no matter what, because that's just how they think. They're simpletons at mind. But what was I about to say? But in terms of, oh yeah, in terms of gaming and anime, how you can also actually be still a bum. Because I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like you can't be a bum by doing those things. You most definitely can be. There's a reason that's a stereotype. You know what I mean? Because it's true to some extent. Let me explain what that means, right? The reason people are viewed like that is because you carry yourself in that manner. You eat like shit. Things are all scattered across your bedroom, all this trash and shit that you probably have right now while you're watching this video. And you're just very, very unkept and you don't care because you're so focused on gaming and you lose yourself, or you're binge watching anime and you lose yourself in that. You know what I mean? So, how do you expect to be respected, you know, and do all those things still? You know, I want to be on the side of you that's better, that does those things, but does them in, and there's a few distinctions I want to make. Does them in a way that you enjoy them and does not, and allows you to not let that consume your life, okay? And doesn't allow you to avoid your problems. That's the biggest thing, okay, about this is that the way you become a bum when you're into gaming and or anime, right? Is by letting it take over your life and having no ambition and no anything. You use it as an escape. You might not claim you do, but you use it as an escape. It's like the one thing that you have going for you that you can do whenever you want. That's the reality of it. And that's what sucks. Okay? I want you to be the kind that has control over your life, breaks that stereotype, goes into the gym, is disciplined, gets that respect, but can do that stuff because you're confident in yourself, but you do it in a way to enjoy yourself because it is like a leisure activity for a lot of us. You know, a lot of these influencers will claim that like you are a loser for doing these things, but then they'll be there drinking their 40% alcohol and their cancer stick, like, if you want to be successful, like, shut up. What makes you a bum, right? With a lot of these things, it doesn't matter if it's just gaming, anime. It could be with like um a porn, a sex addiction, a an alcohol addiction, a you're smoking all the time addiction, you know what I mean, or you're spending money all the time addiction, a gambling addiction. Doesn't matter. What makes it so bad is it consumes your life. It becomes dysfunctional. You know what I mean? That's what I'm learning as being an intern at a psychiatric clinic. It's not the fact that some of these things are inherently bad, like anxiety. It's not inherently bad. There's good, there's bad, because anxiety also is there to tell you something. You know what I mean? If you're not anxious about the fact that there's a bear in front of you, you know what I mean, and you think you can brawl it, that's a maladaptive trait because you're gonna get messed up. You're gonna fucked up. Okay, that's not okay. So same thing there. It's like you can enjoy some of these things. Arguably, some of them I wouldn't enjoy at all, like gambling or whatever, or you know, alcohol or anything like that because of the religiosity aspect. But I think gaming and anime you still can, and that's probably biased, but I'm 100% fine with that because I've also thought this through. And so the reason I think you can balance those two things out is because gaming is a very hard one to do, but anime you can because it's just another show. I feel like you can take the time to enjoy yourself and watch some of that stuff, and it'll be completely fine because it for me it recharges me, because sometimes I see it as motivational, sometimes I see it as like, oh, there's a mindset I never thought about, and things like that. So it really helps me just, and take some time off, turn my brain off, and eat the food that is required for me to bulk. You know what I mean? Do something in the meantime because I think that recovery aspect. I was watching a podcast on this. That recovery aspect is something you can get from gaming and from anime only if you get really, really relaxed and you're having fun with it. But a lot of you, because it's an escape and you do it all the time, you're not having fun with it. You're actually just playing ranked games over and over, and when you win you're like fine with it, but otherwise you're yelling at your teammates half the time, so you're actually stressed, your brain's actually mad activated. You know what I mean? So in those cases, yeah, I would say that, you know you don't want to play, you want to find ways to reduce playing games or watching anime if that's stressful, especially video games. Holy shit, especially video games. Okay, Um, but yeah, like I was talking about, when it comes to a lot of these vices that people have, a lot of these influencers will be like, "Oh yeah, this vice makes you a loser," because for them it was very easy to quit. For them, it's easy to have that big talk because it's easy. And I'll tell you honestly, for me, video games is not that hard to quit because I just kind of unplug my console and say, okay, it can just chill there. Or I'll just be like, I have better things to do. I don't really want to do this anymore. And I realize that I'm not having fun anymore. I'm not. When I really admit to myself, sit down and I'm like, am I really having fun? I'm not having fun anymore, bro. I'm not. Okay. Because it's the 10th ranked game where I can't play my favorite character because someone's insta locked it. And you have teammates calming 0-9 when they shouldn't be talking to begin with, and you're losing a shit ton of your ranked games, and it's just not fun. You know what I mean? So why would I keep playing? The only argument there is to be able to actually, I think, play games and watch anime and not let you become bummies when you actually have something to do with your life. Okay, something that moves you forward, that is productive for not only your well-being but perhaps your family, perhaps what the fuck, a hair in my mouth, perhaps for perhaps for you in society as well. You know what it means? It moves you forward as a person. So when that isn't the focus and gaming becomes the focus, that's when a lot of these influencers, that's when a lot of these stereotypes that I would argue people are right to have are allowed to have because they're right. It's you're letting it take over your life. But when you do it to have fun every now and again, you know what I mean? To recharge yourself and fully recover. And because you don't do it that often, you can actually have fun with it. Then it's like, okay, cool. I can do this from time to time, recharge and come back because some of us just like doing that. You know what I mean? Um, because a lot of these influencers, again, they'll talk down on these hobbies or all these things, but they're out here smoking, drinking, going to a lot of these parties that also don't help them. So, I mean, that's their way of cooling off. Cool, but does not mean that your way of cooling off is any less worth it because for them it was either easy to quit or that's the way they just view you. And in my position, I could easily say I view them the same way they view me. You know what I mean? So, I think it's just about finding who you are, what you like doing, but not letting that consume you. Because if it consumes you, you don't have any sort of endeavor to go upon. You can't better your life in any way, shape, or form. You can't get better at your work because you're not focused. You're just thinking about how you're gonna stay up. That affects your sleep. You can't get up in the work for the morning, and then you miss that promotion. Or, you can't stick to your fitness, most importantly. You know what I mean? And so and for a lot of you, I mean, I'll be honest, like even when I was gaming, there were times where I didn't want to eat, and even as a coach, if I would spend a day gaming before I went to the gym, I would not want to go to the gym. It made it so much easier to not go to the gym. Okay, so I want you to understand the difference between using something as an escape and then using it to have fun. Okay, now some activities I argue you should probably again never do. I think I already mentioned that, like gambling, like a porn addiction, same thing with a sex addiction. I put those in the same category. Alcohol as well. Like there's no amount of alcohol that you can have that is healthy for you. It's like saying like, yo, can I have a healthy amount of poison? Like, it doesn't make sense in my perspective. And some of those people look at me and be like, well, he's, shitting on my vice. It's like, okay, dude. But yeah, that's my logical answer for it, or that's my thought process behind it. And yeah, of course, I'm going to be biased 100% because I grew up on those things. But that's just what makes me me. And I actually, there was some points where I was smoking and I liked smoking, but I gave that up because I was like, this actually is just not helping me at all, like at all. Um, and so this is to let you know that yes, you do have to be productive and you do have to do something with your life, but every now and again, and you have to find that balance for yourself, find ways to be able to enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? So that you can keep doing this process in the long haul. That's what I'll do every now and again. Like few months later, like my literal code name for me that my friends use for me on gaming is the Ghost, and it sounds kind of cool because I sound like Simon Riley from COD, or like you know, the Ghost of Tsushima, but why they really use it is because I don't get on that often at all anymore. I only get on when there's like a new game coming out and I want to have a bunch of bunch of fun with a bunch of my friends, and I pig out and I'm very honest with myself about it. I'm like, "Yep, I'm going to play this for hours on a weekend and just have fun, and then I'll just like stop for months." So I'm just not, having fun anymore. And a part of me is also like, yo, I need to get to doing something good, because the truth is I could keep doing that stuff for longer. I could keep doing that stuff, you know? But you also have to set limits for yourself. Now, I did mention that it was kind of easy for me to quit that, but at the same time, sometimes it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, it was easy to quit in the perspective of, if I played for like a month, I like, the longer I played for, the easier it was. But sometimes I was like, I need to stop this even earlier. So like, I had some genuine friction where I was like, I want to keep doing this, but I can't. Like, I have to stop. So yeah, again, understanding the difference between using it as an escape and when you're using it to be fun. And the only way you can do that is when you're really honest with yourself, because a lot of you are still going to convince yourself that you're doing it for fun, even though it's an escape. And how you know it's an escape is when you're avoiding responsibilities, avoiding doing your homework, avoiding, going to your work, calling in for work because you stayed up too late playing the game, avoiding eating the meals that you're supposed to. You'll literally starve yourself because you're so addicted. And you won't eat much besides like the shitty Sprite that you had, in your fridge along with the Takis, you know? Same thing with binging anime, dude. And the funny thing is when you do these things for long enough, you'll realize that you're actually not even really having fun. Like, you feel like a bum. You feel like a bum. That's your body telling you like, go do something, dude. You know what I mean? So yeah, understand the difference. I have some stuff written down here that I also want to address. Again, if you enjoy these things, first off, again, I want you to be honest with yourself. And then after you're honest with yourself, you can be like, okay, I need to set some limits. Maybe I need to schedule in some time. Maybe I need to set an alarm for when I go to bed so that that can ring mid game. And then I set another alarm so that it can ring after my game, so that I can go to bed on time. You know what I mean? And it doesn't affect my sleep, which doesn't affect me getting bigger and bulking and staying skinny forever. You know what I mean? Um, because ultimately, you're going to be able to hold your partner to a standard, like I know a lot of you want. Um, a standard that you hold yourself to. And if you can't hold yourself to it, like, what are you telling other people to hold yourself or hold themselves to that standard? You know what I mean? It, like, would that other person want you? That's like a simple question to ask yourself, you know? And maybe you playing games and you being in an anime is legitimately you, but again, don't do not get so tied up into it that you forget about your improvement, because there's going to be some people that genuinely just like, when they look at you, they're like completely turned off because like, you do these hobbies equals you're a loser. Okay, fuck those people, screw them. Okay, that's a simple answer. But for the people that are looking at you and saying like, oh, that's cool, but he does that shit too much to the point where it affects his life, that's when you know you're the problem. You got to work on that. It goes for any vice, dude, and literally any vice. It goes for anything that could be enjoyable that necessarily isn't a vice. Like going out with your friends, if you do it too often, you don't have enough time to do anything productive. You're spending time all the time, so that time is not scarce anymore, the time that you spend with each other. So you're just like fiddling your thumbs doing nothing. So like, all of these can be a bad thing, and you'll realize that when you do them less, but you actually intentionally invest your time into them, they become a lot more fun in terms of the activity. And then, like, you can have fun without feeling like guilty about it. So that's great. And I want you to embrace that aspect of your personality, because, well, it's who you are. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that you're automatically a loser. What makes you the loser is the fact that it takes over your life. Again, I'm going to keep repeating it like a broken record because I think I need to, so that it gets into your head. But yeah, don't let the stereotypes be true about you. Don't be a statistic. Like, go put in the work, get work out, you know, learn to dress, become more attractive, get closer to your spirituality, go learn new skills at a job. A lot of 9 to 5s are looked down upon these days. I don't know why, because maybe we're young and we don't know any better, and it's fine to also have a business and stuff like that, and want to do other stuff on the side. But that doesn't mean all these 9 to 5s are bad, because you can learn skills from them. Appreciate your skills, get some sort of income, and then use these things as a way to have fun, dude. You know what I mean? So embrace that. Embrace that aspect of you, because honestly, I'll tell you, like, some of the people that are the most fun to be around are, in my opinion, especially, maybe you could relate to this, are the people that just like geek out or nerd about like a certain thing. And when you think about geek or nerd out, you're usually thinking like stupid stuff, like their uh, Funko Pops, or some crazy weird like card game like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, or you're thinking about these things. But I'm talking about, like, I have friends that nerd out about cars, bro, and I love hearing about it. And I'm like, because I don't know any better, so they can keep rambling on and tell me about that stuff. Because I'm like, I don't know any better. That sounds cool as shit. You know what I mean? Keep talking to me about it. And it's cool because they have a personality. Something I realized after I started to become a lot more like attractive than I was, is I started to be in these groups of people that were also perceived in a very similar manner, and they were very boring to be around because they didn't have a personality. They're too consumed with trying to be cool and shit to be obsessed with anything in their life. You know what I mean? And it's just really lame to be around. It's not fun. It's like they're holding up this facade, um, and like younger me would have understood, because it's like, oh my god, he's trying to attract all the baddies and stuff like that. But it's like, that kind of lifestyle makes you fucking miserable, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like, you got to learn to be yourself more and really be comfortable with that. And that means embracing even the worst parts of you. Like, so many times I have people on Instagram telling me like, oh, stop making the videos about like the gaming and the anime, stuff and whatnot, because of how it comes across. And I'm just like, no, because I know a lot of people view this as cringy. Therefore, I'm going to make it about it, because that's how younger me was. And younger me also wanted to be more comfortable in my skin. So I embrace the fact that I'm like that now, um, and my opinions on it, because I just don't care. And I'm way more happier being me now than I was when I was trying to have everybody happy with me, you know? So it's just so much better. Life's just so much better when that's your outlook, and you just have those few close friends that understand you, that are really, really unpredictable, stuff like that. I know this video is going into a different segment, but like, it just goes to show that how much of this affects everything. You know what I mean? Having this as a part of your personality. Now, I'm not saying like gaming and anime is like the entirety of my personality. Maybe it's perceived that way because like that's who younger me was. And I want to help you because you're probably in that situation as well. But I still like those things, and if people don't mess with it, they don't mess with it. It is what it is. Like, I come with a full package, you know what I mean? And you should be confident in that too, but I can understand why you might not be, because you're not there yet. And that's why I'm telling you to break the stereotype. Get going to the gym, start doing the stuff. If you need help on how to like even get started, or like what the best things to do are, just go down and check out the other videos that I have, because they'll tell you like how to make the first pound of muscle, how to track your calories, stuff like that. They're gonna have like similar clickbait titles, but I got to play the game of YouTube, so that's how that goes. But yeah, like, that's pretty much all I really have. Like, I can't repeat what I'm saying more often. Like, the only way you're gonna get really comfortable and confident in being who you are is, when you hold to your word. And what better way to do that than to build a physique? What better way to do that than to pray, get closer to your spirituality, you know what I mean? So I feel like when you hold yourself to these promises, you'll gain confidence for yourself, because when your perception of you changes, there's not much a lot of other people can do to affect that. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean become a narcissist and, just get like over yourself and everything like that. But it means that you're okay with being you and you embrace the fact that other people aren't going to like you for that. And there's going to be some people that don't like you. That means that maybe that girl that you really want to approach, or that friend that you think would be a cool friend to have, but they're not really cool with that. They're not kicking about it like that. You know what I mean? So you just got to learn to be comfortable with that. And I find that some of the most interesting people to talk to and some of the most fun are the ones that are just like so obsessed and actually like geek out about something, because it's actually fun to be around those people. Like they have an interest that you might not know anything about, or maybe you know about, so you can converse with them about it. But there's something to them. They're not lame. They're not trying to have this facade. You know what I mean? Where they're just like, yeah, dude, what's up, dude? Yeah, dude, nothing much, dude. Like, yeah, yeah, I don't got much going on. Just that, and this. It's like, it's just not fun. I mean, you're gonna have that small talk when you initially talk to someone, of course, but that's just how it is. But long story short, yeah, just be comfortable in that. Like I want you to know that you can be comfortable in being someone who plays games, who watches anime, but can also break that stereotype and find someone who likes you for you. But you have to be careful to not allow those things to consume you, because just like anything else, you can become consumed by the wrong kind of thing that leads your world into a downward spiral. You know what I mean? Your life into a downward spiral. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And if you feel like you're kind of alone on this journey, I have a community full of people who are just like, in anime, into gaming. Down in the description below, where I kind of talk about, and I have weekly calls, again, completely for free, about how um, you can bulk up, gain size, and get jacked, essentially, if you feel very, very unconfident and things of that nature. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all. And peace. Take it easy. Until next time.